Okay, so welcome back to the next video. Now in the previous one we discussed about placing these different elements in the body of a web page, right? We discussed what each of these stands for. So also we talked about the header where we added a few headings. Now I have removed everything and only kept one heading, as you can see. So in this video we'll be talking about everything else, right? So this might be a little longer than the previous videos. So let's quickly get started with the link. Now to add a link, what we need to do is, now before going to that, there are two kinds of links, right? One link will point to another web page, and there is second kind of link which points to somewhere on the same page, right? So we'll take a look at both of them. First, let's take a look at the link which points to another page. So to add a link, we use the A or the anchor tag, right? So this is the basic tag used for adding a link. And in the attribute section, we need to provide href, which is the hypertext reference or the address of wherever we want to link to. So let's say we want to link to Google, so we'll say google.com, and in between these tags we need to provide the text which will be visible to the user, right? So this link here will not be visible to the user. The text which we write here will be visible to the user. So we'll say click here to go to Google or something, right? So this will basically add a link here and it will point to google.com. So let's save this and run it out and see what we get. So it says click here to go to Google. This is a typical blue colored underlined link thing. So when we say it should go to Google, but my net is not working right now, so it won't connect, right? So that is how you link to another web page. Now the second kind of link which I mentioned was pointing somewhere on the same page, right? So before we can point somewhere, we need some content on the page where we can point to. So let's add a few things here before we add a link to the something. So let's get started with this. The very first thing which I want to tell you guys about is the paragraph tag, which is a very basic tag. Just add whatever you want to add. Say this is my first paragraph, etc. And there you go. That is how a paragraph tag works, right? Next we need to add a list. See, we are adding a list, so let's add one. See, ul, which stands for unordered list, and an ending ul tag. And let's add a few list elements in between. Say one. Let me copy this, paste it a couple of times, call it 2, 3, 4, right? So now we have two things. Let's add an image as well. So for adding an image, the tag uses img, again a closing img tag, and here we need to mention the source in the src tag. So let me just quickly find an image and put it. The best way to find the entire image path is this. Go to whatever image you want to add. Let's take a sample picture. I like this one, lighthouse. So what you guys do is go to the address bar, just single click on it and you get the entire address. Right click on it, it will give you an option to copy, right? So just copy this address and the image or the name of the image, right? Lighthouse. Go back to the document, paste the address right here and mention lighthouse.jpg or whatever format that image is. Let me check it once. It is a JPEG image, right? So I missed the E here and it should say JPEG. There we go. So this is how it adds an image. Again, if you want to specify the height and width, you can do that. Let's say height is 100 pixels and the width is also 100 pixels. Now there is another attribute in the image tag which you can use, which is alt. So alt basically means that if the image does not show up, or if the browser is not able to find the image or locate the image, this text will be displayed. So we'll say sample picture for the time being. Alt tag is not mandatory, but it is useful because at times it might be possible that there is some error with the path you gave a spelling mistake or something like that, right? So let's refresh this again. Okay, so we missed a path or something, so that is why we got the alt text, right? Okay, not an issue. Now let's go ahead and add links to all the three parts in the same page. So before we do that, let's make sure that the text is not visible to us, right? Because right now everything is visible to us, right? So let's move this down. Let's add a few line breaks here so that we can actually see if we are pointing to something or not. Let me copy this, paste it a couple times, and let me make sure it is not visible. Okay, it is still visible. One more. Right, so now as you can see, the paragraph is down, and let's do the same with the list and the image as well. There we go. Refresh it one more time. So now there is a decent amount of gap between the three parts. Now let's go ahead and add a link to all the three parts, right? So for doing that, the very first thing which we need to do is we need to add an anchor tag to wherever we want to point to. So since we want to point to this particular paragraph, just go to the beginning of the paragraph and add an anchor tag here. And in this tag, we need not mention any reference, we just need to give it a name, right? So let's say para is the name that I want to give to the paragraph, and let's do the same with the link. Go to the beginning of the link, add an anchor tag here and give it a name, links, links, and let's do the same with the image. Right, so here let me add another name which is image img, let's say. So now we have successfully named all the three parts. So let's go ahead and add links to these parts. Now to add a link to the same page, let me get rid of this thing. We need the normal anchor tag, we need the normal href attribute as well. Now instead of the link here, what we need to do is we need to use the hash or the pound symbol which is above the 3 on your keyboard, and we need to type the name of wherever we want to link to. So let's say the first link that I provide will be to the image, so I'll call it img, right? Okay, this might create an issue because img is a keyword. Let's rename it, say image, and I'll say image here. Okay, so this link now will point to the image part of the same page, right? So let's add here go to, or let's say gallery, sounds better to me. Copy this, add another link, right? So this thing should go, the next link should go to the links, so I'll name it links here, and the third or the last link should go to the para part, so I'll say para, the P is capital, right? And I'll say read the para or something. So again, this text is not visible to the user can only see gallery, links and read the para options. So let's refresh this and hopefully everything runs fine. Right, so now we have three links here, gallery, links and read the para. So when I click on gallery, it automatically scrolls down to the image part. Right, let me go back up. When I click to the, now as you can see, the color and the changes when we have opened the link. You can change this also, like whatever happens when the link is clicked or when the mouse is hovering on the link, etc. But we are not going to cover that in these tutorials. Again, let's click to the links thing, and there we go, we are taken down to the links part or the list part, and read the para, and it will scroll down to the paragraph which is right here, so it won't go anywhere, right? So that is how you add links to the different parts of the same page, right? Now let me quickly get rid of everything and we'll come to the next part, which is the section part. Right, now let's refresh this. Okay, back to square one. Now in the section, as we've already discussed, you can add paragraphs and links and everything else, video, image, audio, etc. We'll not discuss everything here, but let's try adding another image because we failed the first time, right? So we'll say img src is equal to, now what we'll do is, now the reason for our failure, I'll tell you guys, is this: there is a space in the address bar which should not be, right? So that is why we failed. So let's copy this and paste it outside here. Now when we copy the path, hopefully there is no line. And another reason is this direct libraries thing, because we need it with the entire address, right? I library whatever, so that is available here. So let's get rid of this and copy this part, and we have to add the name of the image. So again, let's put the image here. So I'll put the address and I'll say lighthouse.jpg, right? Height is equal to 100 pixels, or let's see what the original thing is, and we'll say alt sample pic and the closing image tag. Let's see if it works or not. Okay, it's still not working, maybe because of the JPEG thing. Come on. Okay, it's not working. If you give the correct path, it should work. Maybe because I have this iDrive in place of C, so that might be the reason that it's not working, right? So anyways, that's how you add an image to the page. And for the audio and video also it is the same. I'll show you guys. I'll not add anything. We have the audio tag, then we have the source attribute here, and then we have the closing audio tag here. That's how you add an audio, and the same is with the video. Here you have two more things. We have something called as autoplay, which basically means that whenever you add something, it will start playing automatically when the page is fully loaded. And you have another thing called the loop, right? You need not mention anything, you just need to type these words as it is, as I typed after the source tag. So this will basically start the audio automatically and run it till the user closes the browser or stops it manually, right? Also you need to mention controls so that the user is able to, you know, fast forward or stop, pause, play. If you don't mention controls, there is no way the user can control the audio and it will keep playing forever. So that irritates the user a lot. So make sure you mention these three things whenever you add an audio or a video. Again, for a video, this is how you add a video. Instead of the audio, just mention the video tag, right? Video. Similarly, so add the source, copy it from wherever, or if it is a YouTube video, you can just copy the YouTube link right here and it will embed automatically in the page. So that is how you add audios, videos and images to your web page. The text can be added using the paragraphs. You know how to add links as well, right? Now the aside section, as I mentioned in the last tutorial, is that this is also similar to the main section, but it is not that important, right? So the everything which you can add in the main section is what you can add to the aside section as well. Advertisements, text, links, paragraphs, whatever you want to do depends on the kind of website you're dealing with. And in the footer tag, you add all the copyright information, like, you know, copyright of Chalk Street maybe, and 2013, and something like made with ampersand hearts. As you can see, this turned italics when I wrote it. This will create that heart symbol, right? Similarly, you can create copyright symbols etc. with using the copyright you know, this tag. So in India, I like to add this in everything I make, right? Because, you know, so let's refresh this. So copyright Chalk Street 2013 made with love in India. There we go. That is how you add a footer to your page. Now if everything is added, this thing will come at the end of the page, right? Copyright information and terms and conditions etc. Whatever you want to mention, maybe a logo as well. So yeah, that is how you arrange everything in the body. and this is only about the arrangement part and not about the styling. Styling is done using another language called the CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets. There is another tutorial available on CSS on the website, so go ahead and check it out. We will not be covering CSS in this series, and that is also all about HTML5 that we'll be covering in this series. In the next section, what we'll do is we'll try to combine HTML, whatever we have learned so far, and PHP by making a form. Right, we'll make a form and we'll try to save the contents in a file or somewhere, right? So we'll basically make a form and take the input from the user and display a message. So that will be done using the form attribute of HTML, which we'll discuss in the next section, and PHP as well. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next section.